Happy Thanksgiving. Almost the day before. It's the best drinking day of the year, don't you know? At the Oh You Didn't Know Wrestling show. No, we're not drinking this evening as we record on a Tuesday evening. No. Survivor Series, Raw and SmackDown did that for us. I felt drunk. Brad, how about you? What's going on?
Oh, what a week in the WWE, John.
You say that with sarcasm, like it wasn't. It wasn't a week. It was more like a, I don't know,
Lifetime?
like a blimp that was blocking the sun for just the right amount of time, but
Hey,
then
but
over.
enough jokes about Naya. Come on.
Oh, jeez, that's so mean. I wasn't gonna go that far. Gosh, no, it's like a blimp in the sky, and you're finally getting that sun tan. Well, you don't tan, I tan, so I'm getting that tan, and the blimp just stop. It feels like it stops in slow, and it just goes in slow motion, and you're pissed because you want that tan, but it just won't get out of the sun's way, and it feels like the blimp's getting bigger and bigger until you're pasty like Sheamus, and oh, it's so disgusting. That's what that's what Sunday through tonight felt like. That blimp in the sky blocking your suntan. How about that for a metaphor?
Well, that's the first time I've heard that.
Not bad, huh?
Yeah.
I came up with that right now. No, but for real, let's get to real wrestling. And by the way, might I add, so we are going to, talk about Takeover, Survivor Series, Raw, and SmackDown from this past week on Twitter. And Brad made a deal with me, and it's proof. He's not allowed to disagree with me this week on certain things, or else I'll get mad at him for real. And it's a binding agreement. It's as Dean's, despite his hiatus this week, his ironclad contract. That's what Brad owes me. So there. And if he doesn't, Baron Corbin doesn't get his title shot at TLC. So there's that.
Oh, jeez.
You can't. You can't do it. If you don't have anything nice to say, what did your parents always tell you? You don't say them
it
at
anyway.
all. Oh. No, that's what Vince told Shane and Stephanie. That's why they are the way they are.
Yeah.
Just don't pee your pants. We don't want that.
Don't pee your pants. Peeing in your pants is cool. That's what I learned from Billy Madison. So, actually, maybe everybody should pee their pants.
You know what? And we'll get to it. If Drake Maverick would have pulled that line out, I would have been okay with that whole thing. But anyway, I digress. Let's talk about the best wrestling this weekend, and it was NXT from emanating from the Staples Center in Los Angeles. Only 4 scheduled matches on the card, with a 5th being Matt Riddle's it was his takeover debut from the Indies. And again, I have to tell Brad to be nice to me. Matt Riddle is fantastic, a great UFC fighter, championship contender. Turn over to wrestling 2 years later, bam, he's in the hottest company in the world, and he beats Cassius Ohno in 15 seconds with an incredible flying knee. Enough said.
Well, I mean, this it was what it was. I mean,
it was what it was.
Matt Riddle, very accomplished UFC fighter, no question about that. To me, he's an overrated wrestler.
How much have you seen of him? I won't attack you because I like him a lot. How many matches have you seen him do?
I've seen his work in Evolve and other independents, and I think he's got a unique in-ring style. But for me, when we talk about WWE, we're not talking about in-ring work. We're talking about what makes up a professional wrestler in the WWE, and you need a lot more than being able to do fake fight moves correctly. So, with that being said, to me, he doesn't really have the charisma, presence, or mic ability to be a big-time superstar on the main roster. Certainly, he would do well in NXT. I have no doubt about that. And he has a chance to grow. I mean, there's no question about it. I'm just saying, as it stands right now, some of those intangibles that make you a superstar on the main roster, I don't see in him.
I would like to see more of his mic work. We really haven't been able to see anything except for, I think there was, and I watch NXT regularly, a couple backstage interviews, but that's it. And that's not enough to showcase what you have. And because if you have it, it has to be on center stage. to go back to your point from, and we talked about realism last week, why Brock, is so believable because he is what he is. Shouldn't that give Matt Riddle an automatic edge because he was such a great UFC fighter? He's done it. He's lived it. Like Ronda, like Brock. He might not be 6'5", 280 pounds, but he was an accomplished welterweight.
He's been there. I mean, absolutely. It's a great point, John. I mean, I think they have a great opportunity to present him in a very unique way, similar to Brock, but different. And they could really make that work. I mean, he is a legitimate badass. They can make that work.
Yeah.
But it's all in how you present it, and it's all in how you work around his weaknesses.
Sure, and they might be on the mic, and they might be in his. I mean, his look is different. I kind of like it. Yeah. Now, and I don't know how you feel about Cassius Ohno. I gravitate towards him just because how he was brought up, and what his character used to be, and he's such a damn good wrestler, technically. Sound as can be. He and Cesaro used to have one of the best tag teams in the world, hence the Kings of Wrestling. But I hate to be so judgmental at face value, but and can I say it? His appearance turns me off a little bit. But even though how good he is.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, hell no.
No, I mean, I'm serious. Like,
no, I know. Yeah. We're just, yeah. No, we should not be taken seriously anything we say. We're just joking. But no, you're right. I mean, there's a presentation element to the character that I think, and I think that has stunted his progression in the company as far as, where they're willing to let him go.
And that's why they got rid of him the first time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cosmetic business to a degree, right? And not that doesn't mean that you can't have certain people that look differently, that are bigger, fat, unique looking, those type of things. You need a variety. You need a little bit of everything. But just the general rule is, they want you to, at least look like you're in shape.
Yeah.
And play your character. And yeah, I think it's an issue with him. It's clear he's decided he's not going to change that. And I know he's actually got a thyroid condition. I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole, but
does he really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway,
that's why I didn't want to judge. I didn't know if he was going to sustain that look, but hey, whatever. So let's get to the match that was your favorite of the night. And I know you'll be way less critical on than any of them because you have a certain infatuation with Patrick Clark, which is fair because I do too. The Velveteen Dream versus Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT Championship. Tommaso gave it 5 stars, trolling Dave Meltzer, as any good wrestler should. What were your thoughts on the match?
I actually thought that was a really, really cringy tweet by Ciampa. You're basically admitting Dave Meltzer, the 5-star system, he rates your matches based on a star system. You are effectively putting him over by doing that and giving him some level of authority and platform. I actually thought that was fucking stupid, and I would have told him that if I were his boss. With that being said, I thought for me, Tommaso Ciampa in Velveteen Dream was the match of the night for NXT TakeOver. It was fantastic. I loved it.
I agree.
I love the way they presented the match. I love how both guys understand their characters and the entertainment aspect to wrestling. They're not just going in to have an intense, strong style fake fight. They're going in to play characters and get heat or draw cheers, and they understand what they're supposed to do because that's what their character would do. It's just really, really well done, both guys. So I was impressed. It was by far the match of the night to me, and I loved it.
You mean, but it was the one thing that you didn't even mention. It was that Hollywood Hulk Hogan actually wrestled Tommaso Ciampa, not the Velveteen Dream.
And I did like his NWO knockoff, sure.
So do you think we know Vince really doesn't watch NXT a lot because of how busy he is ruining other things, but you gotta think, what if you were a fly on the wall? What would you think Vince's reaction was to that? Does he? Triple H obviously had to approve it, so he didn't care. Clearly,
well, not necessarily.
You don't think so? I would think Vince has to give the okay on anything that would involve a racist.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there was any problem with that in particular at all.
But with all of the criticism Hogan has received, the negative connotation his name brings up alone, I mean, hell, you can't say Hogan in the company anymore. You just can't. Even though he showed up at the greatest Redacted show in Redacted.
Yeah, it's kind of like saying bomb in an airplane. Like you can't say bomb on an airplane.
That is correct.
Bomb, 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 bomb. But you can't say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what did you like better? The attire in the entrance or the Hulk up?
Oh, good question. I like the entrance better. I think his Hulk up needs a little improvement.
When he hit the 3 leg drops, I lost it.
Oh God, I was hoping he would just get the pin right there. That would be
well. Well, so now you finally got a real taste of Ciampa not working with Gargano. So, what do you think his character development has been like in NXT? Because again, you have said you watched the takeovers, each one, and we've really only gotten a taste of what he's done with Johnny as a tag team or against him. He wasn't with Johnny this time. How did he do?
I thought he did really well. I definitely enjoyed him away from Gargano. That feud to me was just old news, and so this is something I enjoyed a lot more. And Gargano's just kind of. He's that little guy who's going to go in there and do good and have a good in-ring match. You know, he's going to put on a really strong match for the most part at these takeover shows, and that's pretty much his role. I didn't actually think his match with Aleister Black was that great, but it was fine. It's too much. It's too much no selling to me to get really into it. I mean, here's this guy who's 5'6", 160, and he's moving around like he's Superman. I just that's a little too ridiculous for me.
But to be fair, that's your opinion, of course. They're all of our opinions. I love Johnny, and I think his pseudo heel character makes him more interesting. I thought he was getting stale, but I'll never take away what he can do in the ring. To me, Gargano is a 205 liver, while Ciampa isn't. Why do you think that is?
Well, yeah. I mean, you make a good point. I mean, it's just our opinions. Of course, my opinion's right. That's the difference. Johnny to me is definitely a 205 live guy, but I think Tommaso Ciampa is too. They both are. They're just way too small.
You don't think Ciampa can survive with the main roster guys on the?
He's just too small to me. He's just too small. They've got to stop putting these small guys on the main roster. And not in the cruiserweight division where they belong.
Now, clarify for the kids at home. Do you believe? Actually, I know this about you. You don't think 205 Live is a demotion?
Well, WWE treats it that way,
but it shouldn't.
I don't think it should be. No, I think it should be presented, somewhat similar to WCW during the Attitude Era. The cruiserweights were some of the best parts of their TV, and that wasn't a demotion. That was a highlight of the show. But they're not on Raw. They're not on SmackDown.
Yeah.
They're treated like they're inferior, and so that's how the audience perceives it.
And I don't think that's going to change either. So speaking of Gargano Gargano and Black, I thought had a hell of a match. I loved that Aleister got the win in the end. With what's his finisher? Shit, something end. I think. Oh God, big fan I am.
Black
Mass. Thank you.
Black Mass.
I'm thinking of his indie name, Tommy End. So apologies. What do you think of Aleister?
Become a little indie mark.
I know my stuff. I'm an entrepreneur of sorts. Think of it like an idiot savant.
Minus the savant.
Minus the savant. That's correct. Your honest thoughts on Aleister Black. A lot of people compare him to CM Punk. He has never done a promo on a takeover, So I will enlighten you. His promo work is good. It could always use more work, but it is good. It's like more that dry delivery, but it works for him and his character. Clearly, he can go in the ring. He's tall. Yes, he's actually.
He's not tall.
Oh my God, he's over. He's 6'1". Yes, he
No,
is.
he's not.
It just
Absolutely not.
No. Aleister Black? Are you kidding me?
No, he's not.
He has 5 inches on Gargano. He said he's 5. He's not 5'6", by the way.
Yeah, he is.
He's my height. He's 5'9".
No, he is.
Are you telling me that
I'm drunk? Are you sure you haven't been drinking?
Tomorrow night. Are you telling me that I'm taller than Johnny Gargano? I'm 5'8".
That's absolutely what I'm telling you. Yeah, absolutely. It's not even a question. Yeah.
All right. This is not on WWE. Now you have to believe me here. I work in journalism. I know my sources. Not from a WWE outlet. 6'1", 215. He has a little chunk on him. Yeah. Black's not short. I don't know where you're getting that.
He's not only is there no 6 in front of his height, but there's no 2 in front of his weight either. Okay. He's sub 200. He's sub 6 foot. He's not an overly big guy. There's nothing wrong. Like, I enjoyed the character. It's something unique and different, right? I mean, it's definitely something different. I would love to see more of a character development. I think he's lacking that. Not his fault, obviously, but I'd like to see more of the development of that character he's got. But yeah, I mean, I think he's another 205 Live guy, and I think we could go down this rabbit hole, but they keep signing these guys that are under 6 feet and under 205 pounds. They keep signing all these indie guys who are 205 Live guys at best. That's what they're doing.
I'll disagree on. Aleister Black has the same look as CM Punk, almost to the T. But why isn't CM Punk a 205 Live guy?
CM Punk is bigger. CM Punk at his heaviest was about 240.
He was, but then he also said that was a big mistake, and he felt like he had to be there. He really wrestled around 205, 210. He was lean.
Right, but he was legitimately bigger, and he would meet the criteria in the context of the story of being a heavyweight by the criteria of 205 Live versus non-205 Live. So I'm just saying he's a little bigger, and so he would be a very small heavyweight, and to me, Aleister Black would be a cruiserweight, and that's just the way it is.
I don't know. See, like someone like Adam Cole can be a cruiserweight. Black,
well,
no.
He's got to be a cruiserweight. He's way too small.
Well, I don't see why. I don't see why. Then have it be no. We're what's the term? We're letting reality go a little bit. Why does height freaking matter? I mean, Daniel Bryan and Brock put on a good story. You know who was going to win and who the rightful person was to win, but a story was told.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later, though.
Well, no. Let's get to it.
Well, I have my feelings on that.
I see, but here's the thing, though. But you're the only one that shits on the short people.
I don't think I shit on them. I don't think that's the appropriate word.
You do. Your tone is degrading towards shorter wrestlers. It is. Go back and listen to the tapes, because the tapes are here.
Roll the footage. Look. It's professional wrestling, and it's my opinion. And I don't want to see a bunch of short guys, that look like they belong in the audience. That's just the way I feel. Not that there aren't some, the Rey Mysterios, etc., and that's totally fine. But I don't want an abundance of that. My
God, Rey Mysterio deserves to not be on a wrestling show, period. Kidding me?
You're a huge Rey Mysterio mark.
He sucks. He can't even keep his mask on.
You just don't like short people, John. I'm just going to have you review the tape.
I don't. I love Adam Cole. He's the homie. He's also his girlfriend.
He's homely?
The homie. Like, homie. Yes. Humbly?
Homely.
Homely, like he belongs to be at home. You'll take that. No, he's the homie. He's Adam Cole, man. Bebe. His girlfriend's from Pittsburgh. She graduated at Pitt. She's a dentist. Very successful one, might I add.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you got. All right, I don't want to. I don't want to talk about the war games because I know you tweeted your thoughts already at the Brad Shepard. I'll do it for
Yeah,
you.
you're
Brad
right. I
hated.
did.
Brad hated it.
Well, yeah, I don't like Cirque du Soleil in my War Games matches. You're right. I don't.
I loved it. Other than that move was tremendous.
What was tremendous about it?
Athleticism, skill, the height, everything.
Okay, so the actual act of the flippity do itself was impressive as a stunt.
Absolutely.
Would you see that at Cirque du Soleil?
Well, no, they're on.
Where are
they're
you more likely to see that? At a Cirque du Soleil type show or a wrestling show? Where would that be a more appropriate venue to see that type of activity?
It's Cirque du Soleil. All they do, they're on the ribbons and the little freaking swings up top, like gymnasts.
But they're doing the flips.
Rey Mysterio has been doing flips for 25 years, and no one else bats an eye at it.
Okay, but this is not Rey Mysterio we're talking about here.
We're
talking about
someone who can wrestle better than him.
Going to the top of a cheap-ass gimmick knockoff War Games cage with no ceiling, and he stands up, he gets his position, they all look up at him for like 5 seconds. They wait for him to do his flippity-do. He barely touches two of them, and then they all fall down like they have just been killed.
But so what's the difference between that and Jeff Hardy doing a swanton off the top? Literally the same thing. He gets his spot, he stops.
Onto one person or onto 7 other people?
If I'm not mistaken, during the TLC matches between Edge, Christian, the Hardy Boys, and the Dudleys, he's done that to all of them except for Matt.
Yes, those pre-planned spots are stupid, whether they're done by Ricochet, Jeff Hardy, Shane McMahon. I don't give a damn. They're stupid. They're not realistic. It's Cirque du Soleil. You're going to sit there, and it's a stupid pre-planned spot. It makes no sense, and it sucks. It fucking sucks. But enough about War Games.
Do you like the War Raiders?
I do. Yeah, they're all right. I like their work in ROH.
Yeah, the War Warriors. The War Warriors.
Who cares? But yeah, no, I think they're okay. I do. They've got a different look that I like.
You know,
I think, Pete Dunne, I think he looks like what it would be like if a teenager jumped the rail and was in cosplay and was actually going to the ring, and I would have thought like security would have tackled him.
I love Pete Dunne, man. The bruiserweight. He's the best.
Man, he's highly overrated, and he's tiny. He looks like a teenager. I don't find that entertaining at all. That's like the very Bush League looking to me.
I can find 100,000 people who disagree with you.
I don't really care.
Well, you should. Oh, no. The bruiserweight's the man. He's the best. I love it. Kyle O'Reilly.
What is he the best at?
He's an incredible technical wrestler, and I'll leave it at that.
Who cares? Who cares?
A lot of people care.
Not really. Not a lot of people are watching this shit these days. So I wouldn't say a lot of people care. But certainly some people care.
TakeOver sold out faster than Survivor Series did.
Yes, because it's all the marks. It's all the smarkiest smart mark hardcore fans that are going to the TakeOver show. So of course.
That's a good thing,
the audience. Well, of course it's good for WWE. It's money in their pocket either way. I mean, these same fans are also going to Survivor Series, so they're getting double the money. But yeah, it's how I feel about it. And I know that makes people angry on the internet, and that's tough shit.
Yeah, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Roderick Strong, love them all. They're great. They're good at what they do. But let's move to a really crappy pay-per-view. Survivor Series. The first 6 matches were stupid, but the last 2 were tremendous. I'll give credit where it is very, very due. Is that Charlotte and Ronda were amazing, especially Charlotte. More emphasis on her than Ronda. And then Daniel Bryan and Brock put on a show. We knew the end result, but you know what? They made it exciting for the set. Well, I think they got like 8.5 minutes ish, maybe 10.
What's your opinion on the Usos being on the pre-show again, the kickoff show?
Well, what kickoff show?
Well, as seen on SmackDown Live, Xavier Woods wearing a 6-1 shirt to let everybody know, hey, we had a match too. Pre-show didn't count because Raw was supposed to do a clean sweep, and
yeah,
apparently we're not supposed to. Anyway.
No, what tag team battle royal that was fun for the last 5 minutes of it? What do you mean?
It was just interesting to me because I've talked about this. I had an interesting conversation with a source in WWE about the Usos. Well, as you know, of course, I've mentioned a few times that I believe they're the greatest tag team of this generation. And so the source agreed with me and questioned who the hell the Usos have pissed off, because they still managed to be on the kickoff show so much, yet they're having legitimate, exceptional matches by today's standards. They're good enough talkers, and they even have decent merchandise sales, when they did the city-specific shirts for them.
Yeah.
The day one-ish, for like Brooklyn or whatever the case may be. They have those, and they do well, but yet they always end up, it seems like, in almost every case, they end up on the kickoff show, and I just don't understand that one at all.
Did they know why?
No. It's a puzzler. You look at it, and I talked about this. You look at the New Day, who was in the match as well, and the Usos being the modern, rock and roll midnight, and it just doesn't make sense that either team was on the kickoff show. So let's talk about the women's elimination match. Big Heat.
Big Heat.
I want to get your thoughts on Nia Jax as the sole survivor of the women's elimination.
It's people aren't going to like it. They didn't like it, but it's good business. I mean, she's the most hated woman of the company. Fact. Maybe outside of Brie Bella, but currently Nia Jax is the most hated woman in wrestling. She injured the best woman they have, and above all else, she knows that she did it and she's proud of it. So what do? You get your dollars, you promote the hell out of her and get her even hated more. So when she's beaten by a big baby face, it matters all that much more. That's why.
Yeah. Yeah, I was told there's absolutely heat on Nia over hitting Becky Lynch, but
easily.
I did like how they decided to run with it to get heat on Nia. I think, as long as everybody was comfortable with that, I think it was a smart move for business. And it definitely drew the ire of a lot of fans online, very upset about that. And, that's heat in wrestling. So that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, that's about it. That's about it. But to be honest with you, there were points in the match where it was fun, mostly near the end, but then like in the beginning, in the middle, it just dragged for me.
Right.
But no, I mean, and they protected Asuka. I know I know your thoughts on that. I think she's still, the outside of Becky, and she's up there with Becky and Charlotte for wrestling. She's a good professional wrestler.
Oh, I don't think so. But I think she got a good reaction considering how she's been presented. I mean, I'll definitely give you that.
They still protected her, though. It took, 3 leg drops to pin her? Not one?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they kept I shouldn't say strong. They kept her around. But no, it was okay. It just was. It was better than the men's, I'll say that.
Well, I think maybe one of the most ridiculous outfits of the night belonged to Shinsuke Nakamura in his overly blue outfits. Did you see that thing? That was freaking ridiculous looking.
Yeah, I'm biased. Shinsuke's my guy. Kicking in the nuts and doesn't care. Doesn't have to.
It's so weird to me because, I talked about this on Twitter, but this would have been a good time for me, get Dean out there. And, if Seth has got to win the match, then at least after the match, maybe he attacks.
Yeah,
Seth.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been the ideal time. You've got Dean Ambrose, who was backstage that night, by the way, to come out, interfere, or attack Seth after the match. And interestingly enough, so Survivor Series was explained to people in the company as existing in a vacuum away from the day-to-day of WWE, which is why they didn't use Dean. So it's just odd how these different universes kind of coexist, where they're like, well, this is its own little entity, so we're just going to pretend nothing else happens for this one night.
Whose idiotic theory? Never mind. I don't even have to answer that. When is this stupid way of thinking going to end?
I don't know. I mean, you know, Vince's idea was brand supremacy was the utmost importance for Survivor Series, and so that was, you know, that was coming from Vince McMahon. That was how, you know, how he looks at it. So, you know, it's very interesting. But you're right. It's just it's like it's insulting to the intelligence of your audience, right? You know?
Yeah,
but
we're all idiots.
Yeah.
You know.
Speaking of insulting our intelligence, and we're all idiots, the Authors of Pain defeated The Bar after Drake Maverick fake pissed his pants, I should say. It wasn't real. He fake pissed his pants.
How much you want to bet we know who came up with that? Hey?
Could you imagine how hysterical Vince McMahon was in the back in Gorilla?
I bet he laughed. Go ahead.
Probably uncontrollably, wouldn't you agree?
I bet he laughed so hard he pissed himself too.
He might have legit pissed himself. Yeah. The biggest part of this match, which of course I wasn't looking forward to at all, was Enzo Amore, who during this match was in the crowd.
Amazing.
And was kicked out of the arena by security. And so I had to ask about this. So I spoke with a source in WWE about this incident. And they said, you know, actually, everyone got a kick out of it backstage. And they're not sure how serious his banning was or how a few specific people felt. But overall, people got a kick out of it, and they felt it took balls for him to do that.
It does.
So I thought that was very interesting feedback on that situation.
I'm not mad. I thought it was hilarious. And he was the talk of social media, not the shitty show. It wasn't all shitty, by the way. He blew up. And it was hilarious. But let's give credit where credit's due for looking like a complete idiotic buffoon in the main editor of the Pro Wrestling Sheet, and I won't even mention his name because he doesn't deserve it. So, might I add, for those that don't know, this moron. No, okay, that's really immature. This guy. This was sent to him as a DM. He was one of the first ones to get it. This video. Because no one was paying. I mean, I'm sure they cut away whenever he got up, as any good director would do. Hence, because I've done that before. You had the viewer video go around. People were right next to him at ringside, hard cam, and then he starts to think, well, they're gonna take Enzo outside. So this idiot during the match runs out of his seat down to the entrance, and Enzo never shows up. Well, if the real journalist can stand up, that's me and that's you, when you have an exit being planned due to an unforeseen circumstance, like a walk of a perp, like athletes, because I'm sure this main editor of the Pro Wrestling Sheet doesn't watch a real sport with real things happening and real athletes. Sorry, real sports athletes. They don't go through the fucking pedestrian entrance, you stupid idiot. They walked out the back, and he ran out of there for no reason, like a complete ass, and tried to claim that he was doing due justice in being a journalist. No, you fucking asshole. That's not how it works.
Wow.
Sorry. No, when I see fake journalists trying to be real ones and they don't know how to do it, that gets me fired up.
Oh, he's faking the funk big time. There's no doubt about that. So, Buddy Murphy and Mustafa Ali, did you care?
I actually did, because, and only because, I liked Buddy Murphy when he was in the tag team with Blake and Murphy and Alexa as their manager. So I've always felt like I should, pay respect and watch their stuff. I was glad I did. The match was fun to me. Not your style, but it's my style. I had fun with it. I was really glad. And Jim Ross even said, to your point, is that when 205 Live happens or any cruiserweight match takes place, people don't give a shit because WWE doesn't give a shit. And it shouldn't be that way. That was a title match. And It was a hell of a lot more entertaining than the women's elimination match, the tag team match between the Big Bar and the New Day, and AOP, sorry, and most of the matches before it, outside of Shinsuke and Seth. It was fun.
Yeah, I mean, the entire pay-per-view is built around Raw versus SmackDown. They're on neither brand.
Yeah.
And so there's no story or build-up for the feud going into the show. If you don't watch 205 Live, you have no idea other than the brief video package you got right before the match. So you had no real opportunity to invest in a story leading up to Survivor Series. So I think they've got to figure that out.
Exactly. I agree 100%. It's ridiculous. Yeah. But no, I mean, the Cruiserweights were fun. You can see the passion on their faces whenever they wrestle. They try their hardest to make it good.
Would you say they've got a passion in their pants and they're not afraid to show it?
Drake Maverick's not afraid to show it.
No, I know the camera guy wasn't either. I mean, it was like, hey, could you get any closer up of a view on his crotchal region?
Okay, can I say something though?
Sure.
Do you think it would have been clever if Drake Maverick did that as a distraction to have AOP win? It would at least took something like chicken shit, made it chicken salad.
I thought the entire thing was terrible. That's how AOP.
Of course, it was terrible.
A distraction, and that's how they got their big win. I thought it was just really terrible.
But at least like play a mind game, like, oh, that was just a distraction, and then AOP pins them. It's like something. I don't know.
Yeah, or maybe the AOP is just like so strong that they don't need shit like that. How about that concept?
Yeah, that's what the Ascension was. Anyway, the last two matches, Charlotte, Ronda, I thought this was the best match of the night. By far.
John, I'm here to tell you, Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte was the match of the night.
It was.
Hands down.
It was. It was very, very good.
It was my favorite women's match of all time. It was the best match of the night, and it stole the damn show.
Wait, are you serious for the favorite women's match ever? Really?
You damn right. I'm going all in on Rousey versus Charlotte. It was the real deal. It was everything I love in a women's wrestling match and in a men's wrestling match. Loved it. 7.59 stars.
Okay, so you really hated it, didn't you?
No, I loved it.
Oh, okay. That last part, I thought you were just kidding about the whole thing.
Well, of course. Yeah, I loved it. I loved it, loved it, loved it. I watched it a second time and still loved it.
And it was really something, too. The match itself was really good, and I won't take anything away from that. But the after the fact, when Charlotte DQ'd herself and beat the ever-living piss, I don't know why that keeps coming up. Ever-living piss out of Ronda with the kendo stick. She also got Ronda in the face, by the way. If you didn't catch that, it was like one of the. It was It was one of the third or fourth right in the head.
Yeah.
No, it was wonderful, man. It was really good. I'm glad they did that. They needed to do something like that because everyone wanted to see Becky and Ronda. They were so mad about it. They had to give them a reason to not want that night, and it made them forget about Becky for a little bit.
And they've already built anticipation. Sure, I would have loved to see that at WrestleMania instead, but they've already built anticipation. Like, wouldn't you love to see them have a rematch now? I mean, absolutely. You're going to get something special. So, I like the move for sure. I know they felt like they had to do something, and they delivered in a big way.
How about a triple threat?
Yeah, I would love to see that. I mean, Ronda Rousey, I just can't talk enough about how amazing she's been as a wrestler, transitioning into the industry from MMA and, learning all of this new stuff. And she's just adapting so quickly, so well. She's so far advanced.
Well,
she has been such an enormous piece to this women's evolution on that roster right now. She's just a huge piece to that.
Well, not as much as Stephanie McMahon.
Well, nobody is because, it was Stephanie created this entire thing,
Yeah, she did.
Just ask her.
There is, so due to, in a report, I think it was either in the Torch or in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, that Ronda has been very, she's been having the good fortune to rehearse her matches extensively, like for weeks and weeks. she impressed me because she couldn't have rehearsed that match for very long. Because
just a few days. Her and Charlotte and Fit Finlay had, I think, 3 days to
exactly
rehearse that match.
So in that vein, yes, I'm much more impressed because she didn't have time to do it. You know?
Yeah.
You can rehearse a match so much that it just is what it is.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't the torch, by the way. They haven't broken news in 50 years. The light on that torch burned out a long time ago.
Oh man, they're very sensitive. They're not going to like that.
Oh yeah, they are very sensitive. That's true.
Well, no. And back to the point. No, I was skeptical of Ronda because of the rehearsals of her matches, but no, she impressed me, and it was good. I don't. I have to see Ronda and Becky before I want to see a triple threat, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Yep. Hopefully we'll get it. Yeah, and I think they've done a great job of playing the entire thing up on social media. It's been very entertaining. I've loved it. I've absolutely loved it. I mean, they've drawn in a lot of interest to the women's division that wasn't there before. So kudos to them.
All it took was a little bit of effort, and what do you know? Imagine that effort being taken. Interesting. All right, main event time. Go ahead. Squash in my opinion. Go for it. Do it.
100%. This should have been a 30-second or less squash. 100%.
No, it shouldn't have. No, it shouldn't have.
This was a damn travesty.
It was revered online and in the crowd. And were those all the marks too? No. People loved this match.
You can't tell me. You got to stop going to the Brock Lesnar well where there's an interference or a ball shot or something, and you're trying to protect because, yes, it's very unrealistic that Daniel Bryan would be able to physically dominate, but he gets the ball shot. There's a lot of ball shots lately. I don't know what kind of message they're sending there, and then he starts to physically dominate Brock Lesnar. That completely took me out of the match. Hated it from that point forward. It should have been a 30-second or less squash. I was fine with him just playing cat and mouse, toying with Daniel and kind of beating him up, although it was starting to get a little uncomfortable because, sure, it's fake, but he was beating the hell out of him. He was whipping him around, and I'm like, yeah, this is not the guy he should be wrestling. But when he started to kind of dominate, and then Brock had to struggle, to F5 and then pin him, it was like, yeah, that's just fucking stupid as hell. So that lost it for me.
It was second match of the night for me behind Charlotte and Ronda. I loved the struggle. I love the story they told. I didn't watch it again like you did the other one, but no, I loved that match. Thought it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was well laid out. If it wasn't Daniel Bryan as the opponent.
Well, I mean, you got to suspend your disbelief a little bit. Not everything can be reality based.
A little bit? Are you kidding? A little bit?
Yeah, why not?
That's like you got a hole in the head and you say, hey, I need a Band-Aid. I've got a little, flesh wound here. You had to suspend your disbelief quite a bit, in other words, to believe that.
No, I don't think. I mean, no, I don't think so. I thought it was fine. I thought it was fun.
Well, of course you did. You're 5'8".
Hey, whatever works. All right, Raw and SmackDown. Anything fun happen? Not really. Elias was good. Elias was great.
Elias is always great. Hey, Baron Corbin's always great. He had the big win. The big win for the red team, Baron Corbin.
He didn't win anything.
Well, it was his leadership.
He didn't do anything.
Yeah, well. Let's not come over the details. It was his leadership, John. He's an acting general manager.
There's a reason he's not permanent.
Well, he's not permanent because he's got to be world champion.
He won't be world champion either. Sorry. It's never going to happen.
That's certainly your opinion.
It's never going to happen. But no, I thought Raw was kind of bland. The only thing that really, did well for me was the arcing storyline between Dean and Seth that kept me in it. If that wasn't in there, I wouldn't have watched it. I would have stopped it after halfway through.
Yeah. Yeah, the Dean, I'm really digging the Dean stuff right now. For the most part, I'm really enjoying it. Um, it's really good. It's finally allowing him to develop a little bit of a character and see, a new side to him that we haven't so far on WWE TV. So I'm looking forward to it. I know they're kind of risking locking up too soon here. They've got their match coming up at TLC, but yeah, it's certainly exciting. What they're doing with Dean right now for sure.
Well, you can have a little brawl. Like, there's nothing wrong with a brawl, you know. And it wasn't even a big brawl. It was kind of short. And I get the whole ideology of not letting them touch before the pay-per-view, but they didn't do enough to ruin anything.
Yeah. Did you see the Lucha House Party beat the freaking Revival?
No, I fast-forwarded it because Dean texted me and told me that, so I skipped it.
I don't get it. There's Lucha House Rules, which apparently means all three can wrestle essentially in a handicap match against two opponents.
So like
3-on-2.
So are they? Go ahead.
Well, they're baby faces, but they have a 3-on-2 advantage.
Are they comparing the Lucha House Party to the Freebirds?
Well, I think somebody said Freebird rule or something, but it's not the Freebird rule. The Freebird rule is just you have more than two people in the faction or group, and any one of them could defend the title for the team. This is literally all three of them wrestling in a match against two opponents. So it's not the same thing. But, the Lucha House Party, I guess unless they figure like they're so small that maybe like two of them equal one normal-sized person. So it's really kind of like a 2-on-2.
No, it's the Revival. They're my favorite. I like them a lot, and it just sucks to see them this way. Sucks.
Yeah, speaking of sucks, the Iconics, SmackDown Live. Ooh.
Peyton Roy, they crack me up, man. They crack me up. I think they're funny. They make me laugh. And no, not because of their wrestling skill. I think they're fun to watch. It's a shame how they're booked. They were much better in NXT. They were actually given a damn chance.
They had the worst lines ever tonight on SmackDown.
And that's the problem. I'm not pinning this on you, but like when people say they don't like someone or they criticize, a character, half the damn time it's the material they're given. I understand that you got to make do with what you have, but sometimes it's impossible.
Well, sure. I mean, this is not personal. This is about the character repeating the lines in the context of a TV show. This is not about the person who plays the Iconics as people sucking at their job. This is a line they're being given that's terrible, that's out of their control. It's like,
what did they say?
Getting a part in a bad movie.
What did they say?
Oh, it was just some joke about Charlotte being Frankenstein, and they were making weird faces and making some, kind of like really drawn out reference to explain how she looked like Frankenstein, and because she snapped on Ronda Rousey at Survivor Series. It was just not funny at all. It was just kind of a little awkward, actually. So there was that segment with Charlotte, and then so Charlotte, she beat Billie Kay, and then she beat Peyton Royce because, that's what she does. She beats the Iconics.
Was Becky Lynch on I didn't get secrets out. I didn't get to watch SmackDown. I had family duties. Did Becky appear on the show at all? I know she was at the doctor today.
She was the doctor. Okay, she's trying to get cleared. So, Eli Everfly, who you may have recognized as from Total Divas, training Eva Marie one day.
Wait, who's Eli Everfly?
An independent wrestler. He wrestles a lot in California. He wrestled as one of the Bryant brothers, and they defeated The Miz and Shane McMahon tonight.
What?
Yes. Eli Everfly, as one of the Bryant brothers, pinned The Miz.
I don't know. Who? Why?
I couldn't tell you. I don't really know. Well, Dane Bryant, aka Eli Everfly, rolled him up for the win in very quick fashion. And so the Bryant brothers win. But Eli Everfly was...
was it because of an angle that, did Shane cost Miz the match?
Nope. Nope. It was just Miz being really cocky, and he just got caught with a little roll-up, and that was it. And if you thought that was stupid, then I'm here to tell you we had a Thanksgiving feast. And you had Big E being very thankful for the big, juicy breasts. The turkey breast. The turkey breast. Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
God, man. He actually he inserted his fist. He fisted the turkey into the hole. Into the hole. He fisted the turkey.
I want to watch this segment. It sounds funny.
Pervert alerts.
It's what? It's a euphemism.
He hits the bar as if I'm supposed to remember which one it was. Does it really matter?
No.
It doesn't really. It was Sheamus. He hit Sheamus with the turkey for the win.
That sounds funny. Was it as fun as their Halloween hardcore whatever match? Because that was fun.
No, I thought it was stupid. I just thought it was completely stupid. I think a lot of their stuff is just completely stupid now. It's just beyond childish and wacky to the point where it's just boring and not entertaining and very stupid. And I'm over it. But then we had Asuka and Naomi beat Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville.
Mandy Rose, despite her being very attractive, is actually not terrible.
Is that the standard that we're coming up with for main roster WWE now? Like, not terrible? I mean, this is supposed to be number one in the world.
Not everyone's going to be a home run.
Up that suck, and it's like, they're not terrible. Well, they kind of should be actually really good if they're there.
And most of them are. I think she's not the exception to the. She is the exception to the rule. No, she hasn't been that bad. Personally, I didn't have any expectations for Mandy at all. But push comes to shove, her mic work last week coming into Survivor Series was decent.
Yeah, there's something there with Mandy for sure.
Her mic work wasn't bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like Sonya's look. I like her aggression. I think it makes for that character. It makes that character look really good.
Yeah.
I just hope that they go somewhere with it. I hope that they make it mean something. That they put the amount of effort they put into Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda into this storyline.
Mm-hmm.
But what else happened on SmackDown? Anything else fun?
Daniel Bryan came down to the ring. He teased the Yes Chant, but didn't do it. Oh no, because the Yes Chant is dead.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, he committed an act of betrayal, but not when he defeated Styles. It was 3 years ago when he gave up on his dreams. The difference between him and the people is he doesn't give up. Yeah, apparently we're all a bunch of quitters.
Most people are quitters. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So that was pretty much that. He had listened to the therapist telling him to move on, and he pointed out how the Yes Chant slowly disappeared. He stopped fighting. His dreams took over, and his dreams finally, they kicked Styles in the balls. And he took his dreams and won the title. Pal.
So he's a heel. 100%, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He says the old Daniel Bryan that the people loved is dead, and the Yes Movement is dead as well.
I love it.
A new Daniel Bryan.
I love it.
And then he screamed, "Never give up on your dreams."
I love it. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I like this. Heel Daniel Bryan's my favorite.
He is your favorite.
Love it. Hey, 2012 heel Bryan, thumbs up. I can't wait to see it.
But certainly something different, which is why I was okay with this to begin with. It's something fresh, right? It's something different. And so I applaud them for doing that.
Oh, yeah. I do too. Any Randy Orton, any Bray Wyatt, they're still on the show.
Yeah, they had a match. Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio.
Please tell me. Randy Orton won, right?
They had a match in the mask. Well, okay.
Yeah, tell me more, please.
Well, how much more would you like to know?
Enough to party? I don't know.
All right, it doesn't matter. Look, Rey Mysterio's mask fell off. That's about it.
And what about the part about the important people being there? Or are we getting to that?
Oh well, I was supposedly some Fox executives are there, and they've got a. There's been this narrative in the dirt sheets about how they want a serious sports presentation, and then Fox is there, and they do a Thanksgiving food fight, and then they have just all kinds of crap like Rey Mysterio's mask falling off by accident or whatever. It's just kind of. I'm just imagining like these executives like pushing the abort button repeatedly, like
Hey, a contract's a contract.
So that's that. Let's get into some WWE news.
So SmackDown wasn't good.
I didn't think it was very good. No, there's not a lot to it. I didn't think it was very good.
Well, damn.
Yeah. So you didn't miss anything at all.
Cool.
There are whispers that AJ Styles is injured and needs a break. I haven't seen where he's been pulled from future house show cards yet, but it's something to keep an eye on. So what do you think about that?
I think he deserves time off. I mean, have him come back at the Royal Rumble. Perfect time. Seriously. Just like his debut. Have him take time off. They don't need him. They really don't. Not right now. Heel Daniel Bryan can carry the load for a little bit. Becky's going to be back shortly. Give AJ some time off. Hey, you want to know who's a real good character and wrestler, but isn't on the show? Bray Wyatt. Want to know why they aren't using him? No one knows. He could be on the show. He's good. He's good at his job. He just doesn't have a job right now. Randy Orton. Randy Orton. He's a unicorn.
Mack truck with a Ferrari engine, or what was the?
Husky Harris. It was a Mack truck with a Ferrari engine.
Something like that. Yeah. So, okay. For all you fans who have been asking me about access for WrestleMania 35.
Who cares? I'm just kidding.
Believe it or not, this is actually a big thing. Like, people are very interested in these sort of location-specific things about WrestleMania. You would be surprised. I get a lot of messages, emails, DMs, whatever, asking me specifically about this on a regular basis. So, with that being said, Brooklyn is hosting access for WrestleMania 35.
That's cool.
But here's the interesting thing. I don't know the specific address in Brooklyn, but I'm told it's not the Barclays Center. So apparently there has to be some kind of a convention center in Brooklyn that they're using instead.
Neat. If I'm working in New York, I'll be there.
Well, as you know, I first reported here that Shawn Michaels would at least have one more match, and Shawn recently did an interview shortly after that where he tried to shut that idea down. Now, I'm once again told that HBK is wrestling again at some point. Yes, it's inevitable. The source I spoke with asked if I really believed Shawn would be turning down $2 million to wrestle one more match at, say, WrestleMania. And then they went on to mention the injuries on the main roster, the other Saudi events coming up as well. And you think they pay him like that to do those lousy straight-to-DVD movies? No, he's not raking in the paychecks on that.
Doesn't he have enough money?
Well, pal, the rich get richer, don't you know?
He doesn't do anything.
Well, not only should you bet on him coming back, but you should bet on other legends coming back for tag matches or limited runs as well.
Do you have any names?
I'm not going to drop any names. Don't have anything official. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Well, can they put the ear or put their hand next to their ear and hear the people?
I don't know. I don't have any names. We're just going to have to leave it a mystery. Evolution is a mystery. And so is this. I had a really interesting conversation with someone in the company about Triple H and the NXT conference calls.
Yeah, right after surgery, man.
Well, I was critical of those on Twitter. Basically, you've essentially got the COO of WWE in kayfabe on a media call, which to me is quite bizarre. So I spoke about that. Well, I was told anything combining business in Triple H is a joke, and quite a few people internally are sour on him. Not that he isn't an asset to the company, because he is. I mean, there's no question about that. He can do things like book feuds and inspire talent, but giving him executive responsibilities kills them sometimes. I thought that was quite interesting.
Well, you know, that's tough because he's not a stupid person. He's very smart. So we think. I mean,
well, I mean, married into the McMahons. I mean, I wouldn't say that's stupid.
Well, no, and that's what I'm getting at. But how? I don't know. How can he not have picked it up by now?
Well, he's what I've been told consistently is that he has the wrestler mindset, not the business executive mindset. His first instinct is to think like a wrestler, not a business executive for WWE. And therein lies the problem.
Well,
hey, Lars Sullivan is coming soon.
I know.
The source in the company for feedback on that. Well, I don't think he's going to do as well as some people think long term. That's just my opinion. But essentially, I was told they believe he would be overlooked on the main roster, especially if he goes to Raw, because, well, basically Strowman's a bigger Lars Sullivan, right down to the mountain man looking beard. They believe Lars would need to start out on SmackDown and work with some smaller talent in the beginning to be successful.
Lars,
what do you think about that?
It sucks because Lars isn't the one I want to see.
Yeah. It was definitely kind of shocking. I mean, he's no doubt a big guy, but at 6'3", close to 300 pounds, he's not going to be like he's a giant, like a monster on, in NXT, but on the main roster, he's not going to be that big.
He was never really good in NXT.
No,
so that's
I didn't think so either.
He was like he was cool at first, but that's it though. And then he was exposed in NXT. Yeah. You know how hard it is to be exposed in NXT?
Yeah, well, once he started having to do like these non-squash matches, yeah, he was exposed. I agree. And I just, you're right. There are other people. And certainly this is continuing to evolve, and WWE will be announcing the team names fairly soon. But when Vince McMahon first launched the XFL, which is a story I broke, by the way, he promised that it would be completely separate from WWE. I don't know if you remember that conference call, John, but his promise was, yes, this is totally separate. This is not WWE doing XFL, and they're an intertwined company. Well, I can now report that the XFL is all over WWE headquarters now.
Oh, yeah.
Several departments are directly involved with it, and the idea of it being completely separate is now gone.
And then it'll fail just as fast.
And I found that really fascinating, because it's kind of like a here we go again. The WWE is very involved in the XFL like they were the first time. And when we talk about the XFL being a success, what do they have to do? They have to learn from their mistakes from the first time.
But do you think they will? No, they won't.
I don't have a lot of confidence in that right now. That's for sure. It's hard to say with any certainty, but based on a surface level look at their business model and their social media presence and fan engagement, those type of things, it's certainly not where I would expect it to be in a lot of areas.
Yeah, no, not quite at all.
So that is the WWE news.
Oh boy, there we go again. All right, it's late. We are famished and tired. You know, I had Cracker Barrel tonight. I'm really not hungry still.
Oh.
Have you been to Cracker Barrel?
I love Cracker Barrel.
What? Okay, before we go, what do you get? I'll tell you what I got, and we'll compare notes.
Okay, so at Cracker Barrel, if I go for lunch or dinner, I always get the fried chicken tenders with French fries, and oftentimes I'll double the fries.
Yeah.
And I'll have a Dr. Pepper to drink, and their biscuits are good too. So I may even take some of those home for later if I don't have any. I don't eat Cracker Barrel often at all, but I do really enjoy it, and that's kind of like my go-to meal. I love it.
Is it really? Okay.
Yes.
So tonight I went with the lady. We both see. I go back and forth. I almost got the tenders, but I didn't. I got the meatloaf with macaroni and cheese, the hash brown casserole, and corn with their Stewart's root beer in the glass.
Nice. The root beer is fantastic when it's frozen cold. Yes. Yep.
And do you want to know what you and a bunch of Ring of Honor wrestling indie marks have in common?
What do we have in common?
You both love Cracker Barrel.
Oh, jeez.
So get the fried chicken tenders. That good. I'll have to get them next time.
Yeah, I love them. Breakfast is good there too, but
I have got their breakfast.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Cracker Barrel. It's obviously something that's really big in the South. And, I don't get to go there too often. It would be really unhealthy if I did. But when I do, certainly that's my go-to.
Oh, yeah. We need to go there back there soon.
Yeah.
Anyway,
now
Twitter. I'm sorry. Twitter, social, Insta, Facebook, Snapchat. I don't know. Tell them where you are.
At the Brad Shepard on Twitter, SHEPARD. You can also find my work and all that good stuff on thebradshepard.com. My Twitter opinions may offend you, especially if you're overly sensitive. So I just want to give you that warning that if you are easily triggered, you should definitely consider not following me. But if you like to talk wrestling and you're generally a normal person, then I think you would enjoy it. So give me a follow at the Brad Shepard.
And I am John Fisher. John Fisher TV. I think I am.
Yeah, you are.
I can't remember. Thank you. John Fisher TV on Twitter. Is there anything else? Do you have any advice for all the kids at home before we go?
Do as I say, not as I do.
That's bossing people around.
I'm good at that.
Oh, we know.
Yeah.
We know. All right. We'll see you all next week.
Peace.